Hey there, guys. Happy Friday in TGIF. I'm delighted you're able to join me again this evening. Thank you to all of the viewers, guests, and supporters of the Indie Spotlight Special Edition and the Indie Spotlight Philly. You know we couldn't do this without you. I am your host, Shay Renee, and I have a new YouTube channel entitled The Indie Spotlight Philly. So just check the link in the bio and you can watch all of the past and present episodes in full length on my YouTube, The Indie Spotlight Philly. You can also listen to the first season of the Indie Spotlight Special Edition and the Indie Spotlight at my podcast available on Anchor.fm, Google Podcasts, and Spotify entitled The Indie Spotlight Philly. You can find both or link to both of them in my Instagram bio. But tonight's episode of the Indie Spotlight Special Edition Fridays is a very, very special one. I have today on beautiful, talented singer, songwriter from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Reese, coming on tonight. So when Reese comes into the room, I'll invite her to the camera and we will start the show. Oh, and also, please keep your comments to a minimum, but you are able to ask as many questions as you would like in the question box down below. So I hope everybody is feeling good today. I hope everybody's feeling good. I hope everybody's doing good. And I hope I'm trying to say hello to everyone in the room while we're just chilling and waiting. It feels really so I'm actually stationed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my hometown. Currently live here. And it feels pretty warm. So hey there, Reese. I see you. Okay, I want to to the camera. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
I'm so excited that I'm able to get the opportunity to interview you. I wanted to say thank you for being so reachable.
Oh, no problem. I mean, today it's so easy. I feel like it should be very easy to get a hold of people, like it's almost too easy and too many things, like way too many things. I recently someone was trying to reach out to me and I vaguely remembered where, and it was like five different things of where somebody could hit you up on DM, on Twitter, on email, which email address. So, try
Yeah.
not to be so hard to find.
Um, so you are from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm from, well, the suburbs of Philly. I was
Oh,
born
okay.
in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
And then when I was young, I moved, like my parents moved to the suburbs, and now I live back in Philly. They moved back. So, you know,
Oh,
but
I've,
most of my family, they're from like South Philly, West Philly. Um, yeah, South Philly, West Philly, North Philly. So,
oh. So you're I noticed that we both have the same middle name, which is Renee.
Renee, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's really, really cool. So can you tell people where they can find you? I know they can find you on Instagram, but if there's anywhere else that they can find you.
Well, I am on Twitch a lot nowadays. Every Friday from either noon to 1 or 1 to 2. I try to do noon, but sometimes like just the universe and technology doesn't prevail. And
Yeah.
sometimes we're a little bit late, but I started DJing, and I DJ
Yeah.
on Fridays, um, pretty much every Friday, on Twitch. On the account that we have is McKee Reese on that account. So I'm like live there, basically having a good time and playing all of my favorite songs. Literally, that's what I'm doing for
Yeah.
the hour. Um, and I recently, I started DJing like a month ago, as a monthly at this new club called the Fiddler Club in Philadelphia. Now that's a private club, but it's a really beautiful place. It's kind of like the Soho House, if anybody out there is familiar with it. Um,
Okay.
which is like a private club that just, they have a hotel, they have a gym, they have a rock climbing wall, they have like a pool, they have a library and like a different areas for people to like sit and chill, and basically have an office outside of their home that has everything that you would possibly need. So I spend there on Fridays, once a month, but usually I'm on Twitch.
Oh, nice, nice. You have a new duo. You have like a duo. It's
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right. Could you tell me the name of your duo?
It's McKee and Reese.
McKee and Reese.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And
And
it's
that's
my partner, Steve McKee, and I.
hmm
It was kind of one of those things, very organic. We're together, we're a couple, we
yeah.
live together or whatever, and we, it was the pandemic coming, and or the pandemic came, and you realize, okay, you have to quarantine, and who are you going to quarantine with, and what are you going to do when you quarantine? And for us, I'm lucky. I think if I wasn't with him, I probably would have done nothing on the quarantine. I probably would just sat
Wow.
around, maybe exercise, maybe, I don't know, but I probably wouldn't have done as much as I got done. But fortunately, he's a doer. So we just decided to pretty much, team up,
Mhm.
perform live, figure it out. We got a camera together, and then it kind of just like developed and developed, and we realized we're really good together. So why not um, keep going? So, and right before the pandemic, I wanted to perform. I was struggling with how to perform and how to afford to perform,
Mhm.
where you still get the music out and it still sounds great, but it's not expensive, because
Yeah.
we're adults. We're like fully adults, and we are not necessarily. No one wants to work for free. No one can really afford to work for free, or for like really low numbers. So in my case, I just wanted to make everything smaller, and I realized that it's very hard to do that. You need to know a lot about like technology and just like the different
Yeah.
what is it, like the different programs and stuff like that. And that's something, I'm not a techie. I
Yeah.
tried, some people like, you see Erica Badu up there and she's hitting this thing and hitting that and DJing, doing all this stuff at once. I am not that person. So I found it really hard to, try to pick up some of the different programs and just like learn them and the equipment. So, but luckily the pandemic happened. Steve is really great at that kind of stuff. And he's pretty much a one-man band, and it sounds great. It's very
Mhm.
authentic. I still have fun doing it. And we figured out how to perform together in his studio in West Philly, and we're going to keep it going. So it's Mickey and Reese.
I
Uh,
like it.
you
I
know,
like it. It reminds me of like the beginning of like Philadelphia like hip hop and like stuff like that, and I really like that. And then I hear like some of like the kind of music you play during it, and I like it. I
yeah,
like it.
we're just combining what we both do, and
Mhm.
just and doing it. He's a great drummer. He's a great producer, and
Mhm.
he's almost kind of like a one-stop shop for me. I mean, um, we've done songs together, and
Mhm.
he's releasing his project as well called McKee Beats Volume One, and I'm on it, and a lot of other great artists that are from Philadelphia are on it. And I
Wow.
also have a project coming too, and I'm sure we'll talk about all that stuff. So,
Sure, sure. Isn't that awesome to have like a partner that actually like adds to you?
oh yeah, listen.
Where did you guys meet?
Um, I get,
How do you meet?
well, we met, honestly, I think we met in, like, on the road, actually. Like, he was
Oh,
on the
wow.
road with Bilal. I was doing my
Oh
thing as
my
well.
God.
And he was
Yeah.
playing with him. He produced a lot of Bilal's best music, and,
Oh,
on the albums, and also went on tour with him as his drummer.
wow.
And I think we,
Oh,
like, met, at one of the shows or something, and have kept in touch ever since. And a few years went by, and then when I returned to Philly, in around 2008, we got linked up again, and someone like physically brought me to a studio, like, oh, you need to meet this person and know them, and this is what they do, and we became friends then and hit it off. So
Wow, wow.
yeah.
And he's working with like a really, really, really talented artist. Also you and also Bilal
Oh
and
yeah,
many others.
Bilal.
And many
Yeah,
others.
he's used to working with a lot of great people. He also produced a couple of songs, like a song with Jill Scott, with Estelle,
Oh,
Eric
wow.
Robinson. Like he works with everybody in Philly, and it's just about checking the credits. You know,
Yes.
sometimes you got to check those credits and see who's really behind, you know, a lot of these great artists. But yeah, he's worked with a lot of them, and I'm excited to be the next. You know.
Yeah, so I'm looking at I was looking at like your career chronologically and I'm like, wow, you have been doing this for a very, very long time. Could you tell me like when you started music or what inspired you to start doing music?
Well, I started singing professionally when I guess was about 20 years, like 2021. And
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to make a demo at that age, and that demo led me to a deal, and it wasn't that hard for me, honestly, to get situated, because I knew the right people at the right time, to be quite frank. And it was,
Mm-hmm.
before social media, where you could just get discovered by being sitting in your house. It was a
Yeah.
thing where you really had to know people that were doing things in the music industry to get that, like, link in. Or a lot of people in Philly, they would get in, a lot of musicians by playing in church, but I wasn't like a church singer or anything like that. But
Mm.
a family friend, um, their daughter is Santi White, who is known to everyone as Santa Gold. So I knew her.
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
we known each other since we were like 5 years old, and just our parents were friends. So I was meeting with her dad about. I was her dad is her dad was a lawyer, and he was just like a prominent lawyer in Philadelphia. And I was leaving. I was like maybe in my first time at Temple, and my dad
Oh,
was like,
wow.
"Oh, talk to her dad, about getting an internship." And I did, and that conversation was only like 2 minutes long. He's like, "Okay, you want to work where? What do you want to do? I can hook you up." He's like, "But you need to go hang out with Santi, my daughter. She's in Brooklyn. She's working at this record label. She's doing this. She's doing that." And I was, at the time, I had always been a singer. Like, I've always sang as a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
we linked up that summer, and it didn't end. It ended with us making a great album together, and making a couple of demos that actually, those demos became part of How I Do. That album ended up coming
Mm-hmm.
out. It did what it did, and 20 years later, we have a 20th anniversary coming up this year that I'm really excited about.
Awesome, awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. I want to say like congrats to that.
thank you.
And congrats to that. And I also noticed when I was younger and I seen like a few of your videos and
Mhm.
they always like stood out because they were like unique. Um, your sound was unique and I liked it that it was a unique and it was unique and original. That's why like I can like still like remember everything. I can remember like all the videos and everything. But I did want to ask, where was do you know like can you remember where Golden Boy was recorded at? I mean, where was
Yeah.
that shot at? I'm curious.
Well, you know what? Golden Boys was shot in Brooklyn, in New York. It also
Okay.
was recorded in New York as well. I did all my music in the beginning there,
Okay.
just because, even though Santi is from Philly,
Hmm.
she kind of made Brooklyn her thing, and her, like, her home at the time, and lived there for years. And I just would go to New York. So we
Hmm.
recorded. Actually, that video was shot by Nzinga Stewart, who is like an amazing director,
Yes, yes.
right?
Yeah, she did a lot of hip hop and a lot of great, great
Right. And
videos back then.
yeah, she's amazing. And she's still doing stuff now.
Oh.
And uh, we shot it in Brooklyn at like a random, we rented like some club. It was just like a random club that they rented. And
Mm-hmm.
we just like hired a bunch of cool looking extras, and, we went into this place. It was definitely very planned. When major label situation, like,
Yeah.
it's always planned to the T. And but yeah, we had a great time, and it was kind of cool because my sister got to be in the video. Um,
Oh.
a kid called Roots, who actually produced the title track "How I Do," he was in the video.
Mhm.
I still talk to him to this day, so that's awesome. And it was just a fun day, you know. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was super nervous, and everyone was like, "If you look nervous on camera, we will be able to tell. So really try not to." And I tried my best not to, and we had a great time. Like, it wasn't anything, you know, and nothing negative. It was like a positive, great experience. It was my first time. I was brand new. I was excited to do it. I couldn't even believe all these people came to do something, you know, for me for this video. And it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what tell me a little bit about when you the song They Say Vision.
They Say Vision. It was number one. It was written by Santi White, Santa Gold. A lot of people don't
Oh
know
wow.
that. Yeah, on if you look at the credits again, I encourage people to just look at everything. Like, if you love an album, even if you don't like an album, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like with any piece of art. You can go to an art museum, you can look at something and you can love it or you can hate it. But if you hate it, that's the one you probably should look at the most. But but you know, if you look at any of the credits, you know, for the album, I got to give
Hmm.
props to everybody that worked on it. I mean, that was a truly team effort. I got a
Hmm.
lot of credit because obviously I'm like the person representing, you know, all of the stuff that we did, but I couldn't have done it alone.
Right.
It was like one of those projects that we everyone involved at the time was at the very beginning of their career, and no one had, you know, any real success, you know, in the industry, from the A&Rs to the management to the writers, the producers. However, we all knew we had something great when we all could come together from all different backgrounds and everything and say
Hmm.
we like this or we love this. If one person said, "Oh, I don't know about this. Oh, I don't know about that," then we would either scratch the idea or we would keep working on it. So that is what really, really, I think, you know, made the difference. You know, but it was a team effort, with, like I said, management, production, musicians, myself, the engineers. I mean, we had like Tony Prendat, recording us, and he's someone that at the time he was fully in his career. I mean, he had already worked with like Michael Jackson. However, everyone else
Wow.
pretty much wasn't. We were just all beginners. And so the egos, I mean, some people did have major egos at the time. However, um, they didn't get the best of us because we were like, okay, you can have an ego, but you have an ego for no reason because like, you didn't do a hit record yet, you know? But all of those people ended up having hit records or being at the top of their game, you know? So it's really, it's pretty impressive. Like, the, you know, from who styled it, you know, we had Lisa Cooper styling it, you know, you got to
Mhm.
Google her, Lysa, Lisa Cooper. Um, I don't remember her first name, but her last name is Gonzalez, and she was doing the makeup. And I mean, these people now are like, I mean, Ellen von Unworth, who shot the photos. I mean, she has table books as Taschen, you know.
Wow.
And it's just amazing that I was lucky enough to conjure up all these people, like, some way, somehow, you know, and we did, and it was great because it didn't come off as such a, big label
Hmm.
machine type of thing. It came off very authentic, and that's
Yeah.
what years later I look back at and I'm most proud of. That everything I've done in my career, even if it wasn't meant to be, it actually was authentic. You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's like my, not my saving grace, but that's just what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, and I actually looked at a few I looked at a few interviews and I looked at a lot of your performances, but I looked at a few interviews and that's what I liked. I liked it, like the genuineness, and I was like, oh, now, right, like an artist that is down to earth. Is down to earth, and like you said, there's uh to make everything or to make your videos and your music is a collective effort. And that's something that I don't see a whole lot of artists point out. It is a collective effort.
Oh,
And it was a wonderful effort.
yeah, I mean, it's funny because at different points in the music industry, it's almost like a trend for artists to say, I did it all on my own. And
Hmm.
and then, like, 5 years later, they're being sued. And you're like, wait a minute, or you'll hear a song and you're like, wait a minute, it sounds like this artist wrote it. And then a couple of years later,
Mm-hmm.
you hear a song that they wrote and it does sound like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I never try to take credit where credit isn't due, where it's not due, because it just makes you look like a nut. I mean, you can't you can't do everything on your own. No man is an island.
Right.
So, you know.
Yes, definitely.
My team is
Do
much
you?
smaller now. However, it's still just as good though. So.
Oh, okay, so you said your team is much. I'm sorry, you were talking about your team is much smaller than it used to be.
Yeah, it's much smaller, and like, for instance, like my band and such like that. But it's still great, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're, it's still great. It's like your team doesn't have to be 3,000 people or 20 people. It can be two, and you guys can get
Mm-hmm.
it done. So.
Nice. Great. So, do you have any merchandise for sale?
Well, I do. I'm actually working on it right now.
Okay.
I have a bunch of samples, and honestly, I was literally sitting there in my house, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, when am I going to post these? But I actually really enjoy making merch and
Mm-hmm.
designing, like, even if it's just a t-shirt or a hat, or it's funny, like I'm one of those people, I wear my stuff, so like this hat, I have one today.
I
um,
see.
it's like
Yeah.
it's right now, it's just a sample. I mean, it's a dad's hat, like a dad hat thing, but it has my logo, or myself, a picture of
Yeah.
myself on it. If you can see. But I
Yeah.
also have t-shirts now. And I just usually take an image from the cover art and try to like make something cool from it, and try to keep in mind when I'm designing when I'm going into figuring out what the cover is going to be, which is usually
Mm-hmm.
designed not by me, but by a great graphic designer named Christopher Lyons. Um,
Okay.
we usually try to get something like an image that can translate well in other like mediums. So if it's going to be on the
Mm-hmm.
cover, it can also transfer well on a shirt or a sweatshirt or a hoodie or a hat. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I really enjoyed designing merch, and I'm going to probably do more. And because you said that, I will be posting the new merch, which is very simple. It's just my
Yeah.
logo on the front, but we're going to have more as well for the 20th anniversary. I've been doing mugs, I've done hats, t-shirts, hoodies. So, you know, and usually I just ask people to hit me up on Instagram if you want to buy something. I'll post it on
Mm-hmm.
there, and I just have people hit me up. And it's like, you're going to DM me and tell me your information, And,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Once it's hard for me to manage, then I'll probably pass it on to someone else. But
Yeah.
if I can manage it, then I like to get in and do it, you know?
Yeah. And they know that like it comes special and it comes from you.
Oh, absolutely. From my hand. I pack it
Yeah.
all up. I do it all. So.
What is some of the best advice you would give to an up and coming artist?
Um, I guess the best advice I could give to someone who is up and coming is, you know, hmm, a lot of things are like running through my mind. Because it's so, being an artist is so much. It's so
Mm,
much of your life that you're putting, that you're deciding to put onto, on the tape or into like your artwork, or, but I think it's just try to be grounded. Some people say, oh, if you're only doing it for the money, don't do it. But honestly, you got to make a living, and
yeah, exactly.
and at the end of the day, it's just like no one is just doing art to make money. There's like no one is
Right.
ever doing it, just to make money.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. You
Mhm.
actually are creative if you even want to make money that way.
Yeah.
um I would say get your business right, like just learn, things about doing merch, like learn just as much as the art as to how to monetize it, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what's going to like help you stay in the game. Because if you don't make any money and you don't have a lot of followers because you're new, because when in the beginning no one has a lot of followers, it's not so much of a reward that you get back. It's not instantaneous, an instantaneous reward.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to actually like, obviously you love to do it, but just be grounded, figure out how you can make a little bit of money doing it as well. Um, and just get into the doing of it, being an
Mm-hmm.
artist, get into the journey that it is a journey, get into the idea that it's not going to just be, like I said, instantaneous, with
Mm-hmm.
applause but just learn to like the process of doing what you're doing. Like if you are writing a song, if that's your thing, write your song in paradise, you know, write it in your bathtub, write it where you're the most comfortable, like make it fun, you know.
Yeah.
Um, for me, music, I find new ways to enjoy it. So, and that keeps me in it as well. When things like money or fan base or, you don't get that instantaneous like thing back that makes you just feel good, so I decided, okay, let me DJ. I love to dance. I love to listen to music, and I like to always listen to my favorite songs and stuff that makes me move.
Yeah.
So, I decided, oh, I'm going to take on DJing, and it's so far it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah. Wow. How long have you been DJing?
Well, I started a few years ago when I was living in New York, like over 5 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I started doing like small little places like Beauty in Essex, and I would be like someone's opener, for like an
Mm-hmm.
hour. Like they'd say, "Oh, I'm gonna be late for my own DJ gig. Can you go and show up and do like the first 2 hours of my set?"
Mm-hmm.
And or their time there, and I would, and I really liked it. I was always nervous, but I always wanted to make it fun, and
Mm-hmm.
then I stopped, for a couple of years. I left New York, went to LA, didn't have any of my equipment out there, wasn't got into a whole other thing. Like I was in California, like growing marijuana, and I got into that and the whole green rush of it. And then
Mm-hmm.
something said, "Hey, you got to come back to Philly." I went back to Philly, hung out with my family, um, got back into music. Still
Mm-hmm.
wasn't DJing. The pandemic hit, and I was like, I have nothing but time, and so I got into it, and just to be by myself but be happy, be indoors, all the stuff. It was the
Yeah.
pandemic for me, and now I'm still doing it, and I'm DJing out. I'm looking for more gigs. I'm trying to find other places to spin, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going well. So I'm going to keep on doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, I like I like it. I like it. Um, do you work so now do you work with any organizations or any programs or any organizations at the moment?
I that's the one part of my career I haven't really, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
really like put my like the things that I do for work or music, into that, but not yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those, you know, like charity starts at the home type of person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I'll do things like I'll clean out my tire closet, decide what I'm going to sell, decide what I'm going to keep, and then decide what I'm going to give away. And I
Oh,
recently started sending things, well, not recently, but I've always like, if I clear out my closet or something like that, I'm calling somebody in my family like that I know is the same size as me. And I'm like, hey, come and get these clothes. Or,
yeah,
my
yeah.
boyfriend, if I see that, he has a large family, like, he has like 20, literally like 20 nieces. And I'm just like, oh,
Wow.
I will always have somebody to give something to. So although I don't have my name attached to a charity per se or an
Uh-huh.
organization,
Yeah.
I still do like things like that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the dummy's guide to charity or something. I don't know. Like I just, you know what I mean? I'd start at home because I have so many family and friends and just people that are really close to me that I want to give things to. So,
Yeah.
but I don't knock any charity. I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't, gotten to it. But
Yeah. I noticed that like the pandemic has made so much great even though a lot of bad things happen, a lot of
yeah,
good things have happened as far as like I see like a lot of music being like people adapted and stuff, and I'm seeing new things coming out, new creations of stuff, and I see that like with you. Um,
thank you.
I wanted to also ask, I looked at your you were having, I think it was an interview, I'm not sure if it was in 2015,
Mhm.
and you were talking about you had that you had raised funds to actually finish the
Hmm.
album. It was
Yeah.
called Black Girls Rock.
Well, no,
Oh,
it was for it's for this new project. I
oh,
did an
Lisa.
Indiegogo. Oh yeah, I'll let you
Okay.
know. Like I'm like I know all the info on that. I so I was independent. I'm been an independent artist for years. I was signed to a major label, but went independent after I left the label actually. And I had been working with Talib Kweli, and he had a independent label, and but sometimes you realize that, you get signed, like people sign you for pretty much for like their business and their benefit more than yours. And I realized that I was in a position
Mm,
where I wasn't going to have enough of a budget with his label to do what I needed to do for the project. And so we had this falling out. It was crazy. Actually, it wasn't crazy. It was just a falling out. And,
mm,
um, but things were left on bad terms. And I realized when I looked at my paperwork after the fact that I actually wasn't even signed to him anymore. And I was like, wow,
mm,
what a wake up call. And so I
mm-hmm.
realized, I said, okay, I actually want to release music and I'm going to go to my fans. And we did a whole campaign for Indiegogo, and we raised, 30 plus $1,000. And then I got sued by Talib Kweli. And I was being sued for a
Oh.
contract that I wasn't even in. Fast forward, what is it? Oh, okay. Fast forward, everything was cool, everything was good, but I was getting sued, so I had to actually, use that money for other things because I couldn't release the music. Once your music is put into a lawsuit, it pretty much
Mm,
stops it from able to be released. So at the time, I couldn't do anything, and I was just sitting like, okay. Um, and I was really stressed out, to be honest, because I was being sued for a lot of money for something that was frivolous.
mm,
Um, Time went on, money got spent, and I literally was sitting on dubs, like, okay, in Los Angeles, like, what am I going to do? I can't use any of that music that I made. And I called a friend. I called a friend named JJ. I wrote one song with him. I got hooked up with him through my manager at the time. Shout out to Rashidi. And he was a great manager. And he hooked me up with a songwriter, JJ. And but he goes by J Marvin. And I called him up. We wrote one great song, and then I called him up again, and he was like, "Hell yeah, you can come and stay at my house, and we can write this album. Like, I got you." And that's what we did. I left my apartment. I went to stay with him for a month. After a month, we weren't done the album. And so he's like, then you got to stay another month. So I stayed another month. That that 2 month sacrifice really threw me off financially because I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything, nothing. I was just writing an album. But I knew that if I didn't do it right then, it would have never gotten done. And I felt like I owed people what I owed them. Like I owed them an album.
mm-hmm,
So that's
mm-hmm.
why the album is called Reset. I had to make a complete reset. I mean, I had to basically scrap like over 30 songs
Oh,
to
jeez.
do a whole new project. I had no money, no budget. Everyone thought I had like, oh, you probably got this album done because you did an Indiegogo. Absolutely not. And because I didn't really want to tell people that I was being sued because I was actually going to
Mm,
court and stuff. And I was kind of an emotional, like, I was
yeah.
upset. I was emotional. I stayed at his house anyway, was like, F it. I don't know how I'm paying my rent in California. It don't matter. Stayed there for 2 months. We recorded a whole album in his bedroom, pretty much. And it's like the best album I ever did, to be honest. I hear like my boyfriend in the background. That's why I'm like, what's going
Oh,
on?
sure. Oh,
But
is he with you?
yeah, we were honestly, we were at the mall and we were about to leave, and they said it was going to be like an hour and 40 minutes drive, and it's usually a 15-minute drive, so I was like, I'm not going anywhere. However, let me finish the story. Sorry, guys. So
Sure, sure, sure.
I'm in New Jersey, in Paterson, New Jersey, in my friend's apartment, making this album. Paterson, New Jersey is the home of Fetty Wap, y'all, and we banged it out. I could not have done this without Jay Marvin. He helped me find producers. He helped me pick out the beats. And for the first time, I actually wrote music that was about what I was going through at the time, right at the
Oh.
time. And usually, honestly, I've been too, like, I guess, inhibited in a way. And I just didn't
Mhm.
want to always write about myself, because not even just not write about myself, but write about what was going on right in the moment, because sometimes you want to reflect. But
Mhm.
with all the emotions and all the things going on, JJ knew it and was just like, no, this album is not going to be about some story or something. It's going to be about you, and we're going to write what you're going through. And we did. And I'm really happy to say that that album is now mixed with from the person that I wanted to mix it. You know, that's another thing, because you can write an album, you can make music, um, but if it's not mixed right and you don't have the proper person doing it, someone that's at a certain level, and you can't
Mm.
afford to get that person, I'm the type,
Mhm.
I just stop. I won't do it. And that's why you
Right.
haven't heard an album from me in a long time, because
Mhm.
I don't, I just feel like, it's one of those things, like how I do was so good. And
Yeah.
the people that I got to work with were so good. And those people are still around, you know, and I'm still around, and I want to always keep at a certain level. Like I always, want to keep at a certain level with my
Yeah.
art, because a few years ago, I realized how much of a legacy we all have, and when you know you're doing your work and it's for your legacy, it don't matter when it comes. It has to
That's
be
right.
right. It has to be right. That's something I would tell an artist. Know that when you begin your musical journey, your artistic journey, in anything you do artistically, that's a part of your legacy, and that's important. That was important to
Mhm.
me, so, I couldn't just write any old song, or even though honestly we didn't really miss Jay Marvin and I, we didn't really miss every song we actually wrote is on this album, you know. There's one song that isn't, only because it sounds too much like, the music sounds too much like a Prince record, and we know Prince
Okay.
don't play that, and he will like take all my money from the grave. So I'm just like, and all the credit, which is, Prince, it's Prince, but it's
Yeah.
like I left that one alone. Um,
Mhm.
but I just, I did it right, and I'm so glad I waited. The album's called Reset. It's 9 songs. I got a great drummer on there. I got Steve playing drums. I have a great producer named Steph Reed, who did like 3 of the songs. Ray Angry, he did one of the 2 of the best songs on there as well. We got Steve McKee on the drums, like I said. Jay Marvin writing. Kendra Foster wrote a song as well with me, and I gotta give those people a lot of credit, a lot of thanks, because I couldn't have done it without them. There was no way this album was going to get done without those particular people. And I owe them a lot. And I can't wait to release it. I can't wait. I also want to say, the people who supported that Indiegogo, you guys are going to get the album first. And you're actually going to get it pretty soon, because I'm working on the individual covers for each song now. Um, and it looks beautiful. That's all I can say. Like Paul Story, he also he's a great photographer. His name is Paul Story, and he shot great images of me. Kathy Clark, she did the amazing hair, um, and the photographer was so good that I actually did my own makeup, and I am not a makeup artist, but he
Wow.
shot it so well with lighting, and that it's literally me doing my own makeup, which is like, that's usually unheard of, um, but I'm really proud of it. I'm thankful for everybody who helped me, and it's actually coming out really soon. Like, I was on DistroKid trying to upload it, and I realized I don't know the order, and
Yeah.
I need to know the order before I can upload it, and that's literally the only reason why it hasn't been uploaded. And so the next few days I have to figure this out, because I have to figure it out. That's the hardest part, figuring out what the order for your songs are. So bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm
I
excited about it.
Me too. I'm very excited to see you and your projects and what you've been doing. And I like your social media. It's really well. I feel like social media, like sometimes we look at it, but it makes it so. I have like more like intimacy or intimate like
Mhm.
relationships with artists now because I see like their life. I see what they're doing. I see what they're up to all the
Nice.
time. It's like, yeah, I see everything about them. And I wish they would have had like you at like my music business class or something.
Oh
I
wow.
would have loved that.
Where did you go to school?
So I graduated in 2018 at Community College of Philadelphia. They
Oh,
had a music
nice.
business class there, and then I'm a former Temple University jazz vocal performance
Oh,
student,
oh wow.
and I
Wait,
did
wait,
music
wait,
business
wait,
too
wait,
too.
wait, wait, wait. So
Okay.
You went to Esther Boyer School of Music?
Yes. Yes.
Listen, let's tell everybody. Number one, I'm telling you, you guys, Esther Boyer School of Music is not the easiest school to get into. Let me tell you straight up. It's only like 200 people that get into that school of music every year. And out of that, it's not a lot of freshmen. How do I know? Because I went to Temple University and I originally wanted to go to Esther Boyer for classical voice performance. And I did not get in. Okay. That was the only school that did not accept me. And I'm still not even mad because it's that great of a school. So shout out to the interviewer here because straight up, you guys need to be giving her
Thank you so
props.
much.
No, that's
Thank you so
real.
much.
That is so real. Temple Esther Boyer School of Music is very good. Very good. Like you graduated from there, like I want to hear you sing or whatever you did
I
there. Whatever you did there, I wanna hear it, read it, see it, know it because like that's such a great school. So you're amazing for that.
I I stayed there for a few. I only stayed there for a few semesters before I went off to
To
try to
continue.
pursue yeah
Oh,
to pursue music. But I did stay there for about 2.5
oh
semesters.
wow. That's great.
And you explained it very beautifully, and I really thank you for saying that because it is hard to get into it.
And when I found, and I didn't know it was that hard to get into. And when I realized, I was like, oh, wait, I saw the numbers. I was like, oh, I was not getting into the school. But they told me that I didn't get in because I didn't have enough experience in performing. And I was going for
Mm.
vocal performance, classical voice. So that was the issue. And you know what? Hey, it is what it is. What
Mhm.
you're meant to be is what you're meant to be. And I actually we have a similar thing. Like I went back to school like years later because I didn't graduate from Temple. And I went back to school, but I wasn't sure how I could learn. Like, do I need to do online or in person? So I took a couple classes and I went in person. And it was so funny. Like, it was very surreal to go back to school after all those years, but I loved it. And I'm still looking forward to like finishing. I
Wow.
don't think I'm going to go back for finance though, but I believe I would love to go back for art history.
Oh,
You
that no, that's a great one.
I would love
That's
to
a
just
great one.
learn about art for no reason, like, just for like my own knowledge or something. But, but yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
I just, yeah, I wish I was like, wow, like I noticed the people that I'm interviewing now, I would have loved to see, especially from like originally like from my area,
Right.
and to see them talk about how it was like being in the music business and things they can talk about. Because I love doing like these, like doing interviews like this because I learn a lot. I learn a lot, and I also love to look at a lot of I love like music history and a lot of
Right.
documentaries and stuff.
Oh,
So I really love that about you.
you have to tell
I
me
really do.
you have to tell me some great documentaries to watch because I'm not a big television person, although I
Okay.
watch a lot of basketball because of Steve. And so I
Wow.
do watch TV, but not a lot really. And but I would love that's the thing that I will watch are documentaries on music and musicians and stuff like that for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah. So
So I
let
need
me
that
put someone
list.
just had a question.
Oh yeah, anybody got questions?
Okay. It says, Albie Art is asking a question. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It says,
Okay.
"Ask if there will be any more Fleetwood Mac covers." Oh, thank you, Albie Art number one. Oh, I just met this person. So hey, what's up, Al? Um, I think I want to do one more. I think I do want to do one more. There was talks of me like re-releasing it or something, and then like you know, the label just wasn't, I don't know, he just changed his mind or whatever. It was with E1, they just changed their mind. But I was going to redo one more song, and it would have been, I think it's called Gold Heart. I think it's called Gold Heart. It's like, where is my wild heart? Something like that. And they have if you go online, and this is like, I'm talking to Al. If you go online, Al, and you go to YouTube and you look up Stevie Nicks, and you look up like Stevie Nicks, comma, like her sister singing background, like, I think it's called Gold Heart. It might not be, but I think so. You'll see this video of her getting her makeup and hair done. Stevie Nicks sitting there getting, and it's like a VHS tape, so it's like not HD at all. It's old school. She's getting her makeup done, and her sister is like backstage with her, and they just start harmonizing and singing the song, and they're actually singing the demo version of the song. That
Oh.
demo version is what I want to redo, and maybe it's called Wild Heart. I think it's called Wild Heart, but look that up, because that YouTube like video is the reason why I love that song. And I heard how it sounds after it's done. The demo is cracking. The demo's where it's at.
Wow.
So
I
that's the
love
one song.
that.
Yeah, that's the one song I would probably redo. Everyone says, "Would you do Landslide? Would you do Landslide?" Honestly, yeah, why not? But I didn't think about doing it at first because
Mm-hmm.
it was a little hard. It was a little hard, and we were a little like intimidated. We were intimidated enough doing 5 of our favorite songs, but that one was just like too much for us at the time. But I think I would do it with Steve or something. I know he could do it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This was beautiful, and I actually seen you do Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, and I love Fleetwood Mac, so that's a great thing also that we have in common. I would love to see you do that as well. And have another question. It says, can you do a live stream tonight? Dream
Um,
is so good.
you know what? I think you're gonna have to talk to Steve about that one, because he's having, and I know this person, Lapo. Something went down with Steve's machine, like that he loads up all the sounds in. So basically, technology sucks sometimes, and don't even call him about it, Lapo, because he's kind of like upset about it because he lost a lot of his sounds. So basically, when you like, you're a drummer and you have other equipment that you're like triggering things from, you
Mm-hmm.
you can what is it called? We all we update our computers. Well, this equipment gets updated as well. And when you update it, it erases everything. And so a lot of stuff got erased, and it's just like we can't do live streams right now. But
Awesome.
yeah, but you know,
Oh, well,
Fridays,
they'll definitely
Fridays on
Fridays
Twitch.
on
Fridays on
Twitch.
Twitch.
Okay.
But I do miss doing live streams. That was something we did when we when the pandemic just started. Big shout out to Lapo as well. This guy, he's
Oh,
on
let
it's
me see if I can put that up here.
Lapography. You guys hit him up for your like tech needs. He's amazing. Tech
Awesome.
and video
Oh,
needs. He does videos too. But he'll set you
wow.
up, as far as the live stream thing goes, as far as having your music and your cameras be at the same level quality wise. That's so important,
Yeah,
because if people can't see you well, and or they can't hear you well and they can only see you well, it's like, you want to give people that bang. So just get that stuff right,
definitely.
you know. But it's
Definitely.
not easy. It's not easy, and it's not cheap, but it definitely was
Mm-mm.
worth it. I didn't know how detailed it was going to be, but
Hmm.
at the time, but it was worth it because we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of great shows, like in the studio at Pine Street, and it was just fun.
Wow. Great, great. So, before I wrap the interview up, I wanted to give you a special thank you. I'm definitely going to cherish this interview. I'm definitely going to cherish this interview and thank everyone who watched and tuned in and supported. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? That you wanted to add before?
Um, well, thank you for reaching out. That's number one. I like to talk to people who have been fans, who know my music. I mean, that's the best thing for me, to talk to someone who actually like wants to talk to me and not just read my bio and ask me questions from my bio.
Hmm.
So I appreciate you taking the time out too and reaching out because I love to talk. So,
Yeah.
and and I just want to thank people for being on this journey with me and sticking by me and sticking by the music and listening. I see all people that hit me up on Spotify,
Hmm.
to listen and live stream, like keep or listening to the streams music, the
Hmm.
music that's being streamed. um, YouTube, people on Twitter, people on Facebook. Big shout out to Dr. Post a lot. He's someone that helps me a lot on the on online stuff, and like keeps me going and energized with it because sometimes, you don't like to do everything that you need to do to be an artist these days. There's always, you have a job and there's always one little thing you don't really like or one thing that you struggle with. The tech
Hmm.
side of things is what I definitely struggle
Yeah.
with, but big shout out to Dr. Post a lot. Keeps me encouraged and keeps me going. And just I just want to thank people for being down and sticking with me. And I want you guys to know, if you are someone who did sign up for my Indiegogo, you are getting music very soon in your inbox. And if you've changed your email address or anything, please reach out to me in DM. A couple people have already. They'll say, hey, I'm this person, this is my name, this was my old email address, this is my new one. I want you to be able to find me because I haven't forgotten. I appreciate every dollar that I got, and I put all my heart and all my time and music and myself into this music, and I just can't wait till you guys hear it. It's definitely worth the wait. It's 9 songs. They're about what I was going through, and I don't know. It's that album that I couldn't let go of. Um, I couldn't let go of it. I had to release it, and I had to finish it, and I finally did. And it's still called Reset, and pretty much that's what we're all in right now. A major, major reset. So
We definitely, yes.
yeah.
I think that's a really, really fitting title. And I noticed that you make albums, but a lot of your music is timeless. And we will be definitely excited to hear from you. I hope to work with you in some shape or form in
Oh,
the near future.
let's do it.
Um,
I'm
in the
serious.
near future, I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone for coming tonight. I hope everybody has a good have a good drive wherever you guys are going
Oh,
or
thank you.
wherever you guys are heading to.
Yeah.
And say hello to your partner, to your mate. Because I don't want to. I always think I pronounce the name right. How do I pronounce the name again?
Nikki.
McKee. Okay. And say hello to McKee for me, and I'll be definitely waiting, looking out for you guys live stream.
Yes.
Thank you
And
so much.
and you have my info, so reach out. I don't know what
Yeah.
work we can do, but I mean, definitely reach out. It's all good. Like, I'm down.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You're welcome. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.